Inspired, Anna started writing again, but not on her laptop. She bought a simple notebook in town. She wrote about what she saw. The deer's tracks in the morning snow, the pattern of frost on her window, the sound of Eli's skis on the path, the taste of Mara's stew. She wrote small stories about the imagined lives of the people in the town. She left one of these short stories, a tale about the frozen lake dance, in the general store for Mara to find. The next day, there was a note slipped under her cabin door. It was from Mara. "Your story made me smile. Thank you for seeing us." Winter began to soften. The days grew longer. Anna knew her time at the cabin was ending. She felt a sadness, but it was not the same heavy sadness she had brought with her. This was a gentle goodbye. On her last day, she invited Eli and Mara to the cabin. She made tea, and she read them a story she had written, a story about a lonely writer, a kind skier, and a generous cook, and how they found friendship in the deepest part of winter. When she finished, the cabin was quiet again. But this quiet was full. It was filled with understanding.
Eli smiled.
"You found your words," he said. Anna nodded. "I found more than that," she replied. She had come searching for solitude, but she had found community. She had come for silence, but she had found the most beautiful sounds. A human voice in a snowstorm, a knock on the door, a shared laugh in a warm room. She left the cabin the next morning, her notebook full. She wasn't just taking her words with her. She was taking the quiet strength of the mountains and the warm memory of human connection back into her world. The following week, Anna was walking by the frozen lake again. She saw Eli cutting a large hole in the ice. "Ice fishing," he explained. "It's mostly just sitting and thinking. Would you like to try?" Anna sat on a small stool next to him, wrapped in blankets. They didn't talk much. They just watched the red tip of the fishing line. In that shared, patient silence, Anna felt a calm she hadn't felt in years. It was different from the lonely silence of the cabin. This was a companionable quiet. Later, he showed her the small, bright fish he caught.
"For my dinner," he said.
"And for old Mrs. Clark down the road. She likes the soup." One evening, there was a soft knock on her cabin door. It was Mara holding a ceramic pot. "I made too much stew," she said. "Thought you might like some. The nights get cold." Anna invited her in. Over the stew, Mara told stories of the town, how the lake used to freeze so thick they held dances on it, how Eli had taught almost every child in the area, how people looked out for each other. Anna listened, and for the first time, she began to tell her own story. She talked about her writer's block, her escape from the city, her fear that the words were gone forever. Mara nodded. "Sometimes," she said gently, "the words need a new kind of quiet to grow. Not an empty quiet, but a peaceful one." A few days later, a storm came. It was not a gentle snow, but a howling, fierce blizzard. The wind shook the old windows. The electricity flickered, then went out completely. The cabin was dark, and the cold began to creep in from the corners. Anna piled wood into the fireplace, her hands trembling. This was not the peaceful quiet she had imagined. This was a powerful, frightening isolation. She realized, with a sharp fear, how fragile her solitude was. If the fire went out, if she got sick, if something happened, no one knew she was here. No one would come. The romantic idea of being alone suddenly felt very dangerous. The next morning, the storm had passed. The world was buried under 3 feet of new, perfect snow. Anna needed supplies from the small town a mile down the road. Putting on her heaviest boots, she began to walk. The path was completely hidden. The snow was up to her knees. Every step was a struggle. Halfway there, exhausted, she stopped. She wanted to cry. Just then, she heard a sound, a smooth, shushing sound. She looked up. A man on cross-country skis was gliding gracefully down the path toward her. He was older, with a kind face wrapped in a scarf. "The path is easier on skis," he said with a smile. "Not so easy on foot. Can I help you?"
His name was Eli.
Eli helped her get to the town. He was a retired teacher who lived here year-round. He didn't ask why she was here alone. He simply talked about the snow, the trees, the way the light changed on the mountains in winter. He invited her for a hot drink at the tiny general store, which was also the post office and cafe. The owner, Mara, poured them hot chocolate without even asking. She smiled at Anna. Eli finds all the strays in a snowstorm, she laughed. Anna felt a warmth that wasn't just from the drink. These people weren't intrusive. They were just there, connected to this place and to each other. The wind whispered through the tall pines, a lonely sound against the silent white mountains. Anna had come here to be alone. She rented the small, old cabin for the winter. She brought only her books, her laptop, and a heavy heart. She was a writer, or she used to be. The words had stopped coming months ago. The noise of the city, the constant messages, the expectations, it all became too loud. She needed quiet. She needed to hear her own thoughts again. This cabin, surrounded by deep snow and endless trees, promised that kind of silence. The first week was exactly what she wanted. The only sounds were the crackling fire, the hiss of the snow falling from the roof, and her own footsteps.
She tried to write.
She sat at the small wooden table by the window, looking out at the frozen lake. But the page remained empty. The quiet she wanted now felt heavy. It felt like a blanket that was smothering her ideas, not freeing them. She felt more alone than she had ever felt in the crowded city. One afternoon, she saw a movement in the trees. A deer, elegant and calm, stepped into the clearing. It looked at the cabin for a long moment and then disappeared. Anna felt a strange ache. She was just a visitor here. The trees and the animals belonged. She did not.